Welcome, the anointed ones. Trying to control a chosen one is like wrestling with a shadow. You'll exhaust yourself while they remain untouchable. Did you know that people who crave control often fear what they can't dominate? It's a psychological truth. The irony? Chosen ones, by their very nature, cannot be dominated. They're like wildfires, unpredictable, self-sustaining, and impossible to contain. Yet that doesn't stop people from trying and failing spectacularly. In today's video, we'll uncover the jaw-dropping, often hilariously ironic reactions people experience when they attempt to control a chosen one. From emotional meltdowns to spiritual wake-up calls, the fallout is both entertaining and enlightening. But let's be honest. If you've ever tried to cage a lion only to realize the lion opened the cage for you, then you already know what's coming. Get ready, because this journey into the unshakable power of the chosen ones will be equal parts revelation and rude awakening. Let's dive in. At number 1, the silent resistance that feels deafening. Chosen. Ones don't fight control with loud arguments or dramatic rebellions. Instead, their defiance is quiet, deliberate, and unnervingly effective. It's the kind of silence that speaks louder than any words ever could. When someone tries to manipulate or dominate them, chosen ones don't waste time explaining themselves or justifying their actions. They simply don't comply. This refusal to engage creates a tension so thick it's almost palpable. Controllers expect resistance in the form of anger or confrontation, something they can push back against. But with chosen ones, there's nothing to push. Their stillness isn't passive. It's a form of power that unnerves even the most confident manipulators. The silence doesn't just reject control, it reflects it back to the person attempting to wield it. Suddenly, the would-be controller finds themselves questioning their own authority. Why isn't this working? Why does it feel like they're the one being evaluated? This quiet resistance is like an invisible force field. It frustrates and confuses the controller, leaving them grasping for some kind of reaction, any reaction, that gives them the upper hand. But chosen ones have mastered the art of emotional neutrality. They don't flinch, they don't budge. And that non-reaction feels like a mirror, forcing the controller to face their own weakness and desperation. What makes it even more powerful is how effortless it is for chosen ones. They're not pretending or playing a game, they simply are. Their refusal to be controlled stems from an unshakable inner compass, one that doesn't need validation or approval. To the controller, it's infuriating. To the chosen one, it's just another day of being true to themselves. Number 2, unmasking manipulation with surgical precision. When someone tries to manipulate a chosen one, they're stepping into dangerous territory without even realizing it. Chosen ones have a remarkable ability to see through schemes and hidden agendas with almost surgical precision. What's worse for the manipulator is that this exposure doesn't come with a loud accusation or a dramatic confrontation. Instead, chosen ones quietly dismantle the tactics piece by piece until the manipulator is left standing in the rubble of their own failed strategy. It's unsettling how calmly and effortlessly this happens. Chosen ones don't need to call out manipulation directly. Their actions alone reveal the cracks. They respond in ways that disarm the manipulator's plan entirely, often by refusing to play along. A manipulator might try guilt-tripping, subtle power plays, or emotional baiting, but the chosen one's reaction is always the same: disinterest. That lack of engagement is a spotlight, exposing every flaw in the scheme. What's even more unnerving is how personal this feels to the manipulator. They can't hide behind charm, coercion, or authority because the chosen one's clarity cuts through it all. It's like trying to cast a shadow in broad daylight. It's impossible to hide anything. This leaves the manipulator not only exposed but also embarrassed, often scrambling to backtrack or shift blame. The real twist? Chosen ones don't do this out of malice. They're not interested in humiliating anyone. Their innate truth-seeking nature simply can't coexist with deceit. To them, manipulation is like static noise, disruptive and intolerable, so they filter it out without a second thought. For the manipulator, however, the experience is unforgettable. They're left wondering how their perfectly crafted tactics unraveled so easily, realizing too late that they were never a match for a chosen one's unwavering discernment. Number 3, controllers suddenly question their own reality. When people try to control a chosen one, something strange and unexpected often happens. They begin questioning their own reality. It's as if the very act of attempting to dominate triggers a subtle but profound sense of disorientation. Chosen ones operate on a wavelength that is difficult to grasp for those obsessed with control. Their confidence isn't loud or aggressive. It's calm, unwavering, and deeply rooted in something intangible. This creates a psychological imbalance in the controller, leaving them wondering why their usual tactics aren't working. Controllers often rely on predictable reactions, fear, submission, or compliance. But a chosen one doesn't respond the way most people do. Instead, they meet control with an energy that feels immovable, almost otherworldly. It's not defiance in the typical sense. It's the kind of quiet confidence that says, "You have no power here." This unnerves the controller, forcing them to second-guess not just their approach, but their very perception of authority. This doubt only deepens the longer they try. Controllers often start projecting their own insecurities onto the chosen one, thinking, "Why am I the one who feels out of control here?" The harder they push, the more they feel like they're slipping, as if the chosen one has flipped the script without lifting a finger. It's not magic, it's the sheer strength of their authenticity and unshakable inner balance. What's even more fascinating is that chosen ones don't do this deliberately. They simply embody a truth that cannot be overruled, a natural resistance to manipulation. This makes the controller feel not just powerless but exposed, as if the ground beneath them has shifted. They walk away questioning everything, how they see themselves, their relationships, and even the nature of control itself. Number 4, the energy drain effect. Trying to control a chosen one is not just a losing battle, it's an energy-sapping experience that leaves the controller utterly depleted. Chosen ones carry an energy that is deeply protected, almost as if surrounded by an invisible shield. This isn't just about emotional resilience, it's something far more profound. Their very presence seems to repel attempts at manipulation or control, and the effort required to push past this natural barrier quickly drains the would-be controller. Controllers often enter the situation thinking they have the upper hand, confident that their usual tactics will work. But instead of bending the chosen one to their will, they find themselves inexplicably fatigued. The harder they push, the heavier the weight becomes. It's like trying to push against an immovable force. Every ounce of effort rebounds back on them, leaving them feeling hollowed out and confused. This exhaustion isn't just mental, it feels spiritual. Chosen ones have an energy that is deeply aligned with something greater, a divine force that seems to fortify them. Manipulators who operate on lower vibrations, like fear, greed, or control, find themselves unable to sustain their usual games. Their energy gets drained simply by coming into contact with a presence that is so pure, so unyielding. What's even more unsettling for the controller is how effortless this is for the chosen one. They don't fight back or retaliate. They don't even acknowledge the battle. Their energy naturally protects itself, reflecting negativity and draining those who try to force their way in. By the end, the controller feels like they've run a marathon uphill, only to realize they've gotten nowhere. It's a rude awakening that leaves them depleted, defeated, and questioning why they ever tried in the first place. Number 5, the instant disconnection. When someone tries to control a chosen one, they quickly discover that guilt, fear, or dependency are powerless tools against them. Chosen ones possess an almost unsettling ability to cut ties instantly without hesitation or regret. It's not cruelty, it's clarity. They see control for what it is, an attempt to undermine their freedom and authenticity, and the moment they sense it, they act decisively, leaving manipulators completely stunned. For most people, severing ties can be a drawn-out process, tangled with emotions and second-guessing, but not for chosen ones. They don't linger in toxic dynamics or wait around for explanations. The connection ends the moment it becomes a threat to their peace or purpose. It's as if they have an internal switch that flips, and once it's off for good. This brutal detachment catches controllers off guard because they're used to people clinging, pleading, or giving in to their tactics. What makes this disconnection so shocking is its finality. Chosen ones don't play games or leave the door open for future manipulation. Their departure isn't loud or dramatic, it's quiet, but absolute. And that silence is deafening. For the person trying to control them, it feels like hitting a brick wall. One moment they're orchestrating their moves, and the next they're standing alone, wondering how everything fell apart so quickly. This ability to walk away stems from the chosen one's deep understanding of their worth. They know their energy is sacred, and they refuse to waste it on anyone who seeks to diminish it. To the controller, it feels personal, like a rejection of their power. But for the chosen one, it's simple. Their peace is non-negotiable, and anyone who threatens it is left behind without a second thought. Type. Number 6. Their aura forces self-reflection. When a controller interacts with a chosen one, something deeply unsettling happens. They begin to see themselves in ways they've worked hard to avoid. This isn't because the chosen one calls them out or exposes their flaws directly. Instead, the chosen one's unwavering authenticity acts like a mirror, forcing the controller to confront parts of themselves they'd rather keep hidden. Chosen ones operate with a sense of alignment and clarity that is rare and, frankly, intimidating. Their presence doesn't bend to manipulation or falsehoods, and this uncompromising honesty has an almost gravitational pull. Controllers, who are often used to constructing facades to gain the upper hand, find their masks slipping. It's as though the chosen one's energy creates a space where truth becomes inescapable, not because it's spoken, but because it's felt. This forced self-reflection is profoundly uncomfortable. Controllers might start noticing their own insecurities bubbling to the surface, the fears, the inadequacies, and the doubts they've buried under layers of control and manipulation. And while chosen ones don't intend to trigger this process, their authenticity naturally shines a light on everything that isn't genuine in the other person. For the controller, this experience is both frustrating and confusing. They may leave the interaction feeling uneasy, unsure why their usual tactics didn't work, and why they suddenly feel so exposed. In some cases, they might lash out or double down on their controlling behavior, trying to regain a sense of power. But deep down, they know something has shifted. Engaging with the chosen one often leaves controllers with no choice but to face themselves. It's a rude awakening that stings, but it also plants the seed of transformation, whether they're ready for it or not. Number 7. Attempts to dominate turn into obsession. When someone tries and fails to dominate a chosen one, they often find themselves trapped in a mental loop, obsessively replaying the interaction. This isn't because the chosen one did anything dramatic in response. In fact, it's usually the opposite. The chosen one's calm, unshaken refusal to comply creates a vacuum that the controller can't ignore. It's as if the more the chosen one remains unaffected, the more the controller's need for power spirals into fixation. Controllers thrive on reaction. It's the currency of their power. But when a chosen one refuses to engage, it leaves the controller disarmed, with no way to assert dominance or manipulate the outcome. This unresolved tension gnaws at their psyche, turning what started as a power play into a full-blown obsession. They can't stop analyzing every word, every moment, every failed attempt to exert control, desperately trying to figure out where they went wrong. The irony is that while the controller is consumed by this obsession, the chosen one has already moved on, often without a second thought. They don't waste energy on people or situations that don't align with their purpose. This indifference is what makes the obsession even more maddening for the controller. They crave closure, validation, or some acknowledgement of their efforts, but the chosen one offers none of that. This dynamic leaves the controller haunted not just by their inability to dominate, but by the stark realization that their usual tactics hold no weight against the chosen one. They become trapped in their own need for control, replaying a battle they've already lost. For the chosen one, it's over and done. For the controller, it becomes a mental prison, one they built with their own hands. Number 8. They trigger an emotional collapse. When a controller's attempts to dominate a chosen one fail, the fallout often takes the form of an emotional collapse. Chosen ones don't just resist control, they reject it at its core without fear or compromise. This steadfast refusal creates a level of frustration in the controller that chips away at their carefully constructed facade of confidence and power. The chosen one doesn't even have to engage in conflict. Their simple act of standing firm is enough to unravel the controller's sense of dominance. Controllers often operate from a place of insecurity, masking their vulnerabilities behind manipulation and authority. When those tools don't work on a chosen one, they're left exposed, vulnerable, and unable to maintain their composure. The frustration builds as they realize their usual tactics, whether it's guilt-tripping, intimidation, or gaslighting, are completely ineffective. This can lead to emotional outbursts, tantrums, or even quiet withdrawal as they struggle to process the rejection of their control. The collapse isn't just external, it's internal too. The chosen one's refusal to conform forces the controller to confront their own powerlessness, something they've likely spent years avoiding. This realization can feel like a personal failure, and for someone who thrives on control, that's devastating. They may lash out in anger, blaming the chosen one for their emotional turmoil, or spiral into self-doubt, questioning their ability to maintain authority in other areas of their life. What's most striking is how one-sided this meltdown is. While the controller falls apart, the chosen one remains steady, often unaware of the chaos they've triggered. For the controller, it's not just a loss of control, it's an unraveling of their identity, leaving them emotionally raw and deeply unsettled in the face of a strength they couldn't break. Number 9, controllers lose their social power. When a controller targets a chosen one, they unknowingly set themselves up for a social reckoning. Chosen ones have a remarkable way of exposing manipulation, not through loud accusations or dramatic confrontations, but simply by being who they are, authentic, unshakable, and immune to deceit. This quiet strength shines a light on the manipulative tactics of the controller, making their true nature visible to everyone around them. What happens next is almost inevitable. Social power begins to shift. Those who once admired or feared the controller start to see through their facade. Manipulation, once mistaken for charisma or authority, is unmasked as insecurity and control. The chosen one doesn't need to point fingers or rally support. Their presence alone creates a stark contrast that others can't ignore. Over time, people naturally gravitate toward the chosen one's authenticity, leaving the controller increasingly isolated. This loss of social power is especially jarring for the controller, who thrives on their ability to influence and dominate group dynamics. They might notice friends, colleagues, or allies pulling away, no longer willing to be complicit in their games. Conversations that once validated their behavior now feel cold or dismissive, and while they might try to regain their footing through charm or coercion, it often backfires, reinforcing the impression of their manipulative nature. For the chosen one, this shift is not a victory, but a byproduct of their refusal to play along. They don't seek to humiliate or isolate anyone. They simply live in truth. But truth, when placed next to manipulation, exposes everything. In the end, the controller is left with a diminished circle and a bitter realization. Their attempts to control not only failed, but also cost them the very influence they depended on. Number 10, their presence becomes unbearable. When a controller fails to exert influence over a chosen one, something powerful and undeniable happens. The very presence of the chosen one becomes unbearable. It's not because the chosen one is aggressive or confrontational. In fact, it's often the opposite. Their calm, unwavering authenticity creates an energy so strong and unyielding that it naturally exposes the controller's insecurity. The controller, who is used to manipulating situations and people to their advantage, finds themselves out of their depth. The more they try to assert control, the more their attempts seem futile, amplifying a tension that becomes impossible to ignore. This growing discomfort builds a kind of invisible barrier. The controller may begin to feel physically uneasy, like they're being seen for who they truly are, without the ability to hide behind their usual tactics. It's like the space between them and the chosen one is charged with an unspoken truth. And that truth feels suffocating. Where they once might have felt dominant, they now feel diminished, exposed for their need to control and manipulate. The tension becomes so thick that in many cases the controller has no choice but to retreat. They can no longer tolerate the subtle yet powerful force that the chosen one exudes. It's not an outward battle, it's a quiet internal collapse. The more they try to dominate or win over the chosen one, the more they feel drained, inferior, and out of sync with the energy around them. Eventually, they realize they can't coexist in the same space without feeling their own power erode. What's remarkable is that the chosen one doesn't need to lift a finger to make this happen. Their mere existence forces the controller to face a reality they can't escape. And in that discomfort, the controller is forced to leave because they simply can't endure the dissonance anymore. Number 11, a sudden shift in public perception. When someone tries to control a chosen one, the results often go far beyond a simple, failed power play. There's an almost immediate shift in the way others perceive the controller, as if the universe itself has a hand in exposing the imbalance. People, whether they realize it consciously or not, can sense when something's off. They can feel the tension, the manipulation, and the unfairness of the situation. And even if no direct confrontation or words are exchanged, the scales tip in favor of the chosen one, often without explanation. It's like an invisible force that defies logic or reason. The controller may have once been seen as charismatic, powerful, or influential. But now, people are beginning to notice the cracks in the facade. There's something about their actions that doesn't sit right. Maybe it's their desperate attempts to maintain control or the way they react to being challenged by the chosen one. Whatever the case, the perception begins to shift subtly but undeniably. What's fascinating is that the chosen one doesn't need to fight back or even speak out to make this shift happen. Their authenticity and strength speak volumes without uttering a word, and this quiet, unshakable presence creates a natural alliance with those around them. It's almost as if the energy surrounding the chosen one is contagious, uplifting their reputation by default, while the controller's image begins to crack. People may start to distance themselves, and those who once sided with the controller might suddenly find themselves more inclined to support the chosen one. This shift is like a cosmic vindication. The controller is left stunned, unable to stop the narrative from changing, as the universe's inherent balance rights itself. In the end, the chosen one stands tall and steady, their reputation only growing stronger, while the controller watches, helpless, as their own reputation crumbles. Number 12. Controllers leave feeling outmatched and inferior. When a controller interacts with a chosen one, they often walk away feeling a profound sense of inferiority, even if they can't quite put their finger on why. It's not about anything the chosen one said or did directly. There's no grand confrontation or dramatic moment. It's simply the way the chosen one carries themselves, with an unwavering sense of self and an independence that the controller can't touch. This quiet, unshakable strength stands in stark contrast to the controller's own insecurities and need for power. The chosen one vibrates at a frequency that most controllers can't even comprehend, let alone match. It's as if their presence serves as a mirror, reflecting back everything the controller lacks: true inner peace, self-sufficiency, and the freedom that comes from not needing to manipulate or control others to feel validated. The controller, in their desperate pursuit of dominance, realizes, perhaps for the first time, just how little of their own power is rooted in true authenticity. They have spent so much time building facades, manipulating circumstances, and clinging to their perceived control, only to face the undeniable truth that they've never experienced the kind of inner strength the chosen one embodies so effortlessly. This realization doesn't sit well with them. It's uncomfortable, humbling, and for some, outright humiliating. The very qualities they thought they were in control of, power, influence, and self-assuredness, feel hollow and fragile when placed next to the chosen one's raw, undisturbed presence. As a result, the controller is left feeling small, their need for control exposed as a mask for their own insecurities. They may leave the interaction, but they can't escape the nagging feeling that they were outmatched in a way they never anticipated by someone who doesn't need to dominate to shine. In the end, the chosen one's greatest power lies not in confrontation, but in their ability to exist unapologetically in their truth. When controllers attempt to dominate, manipulate, or break them, they quickly learn that the chosen one's strength isn't something that can be seized or controlled. It's an innate force, an energy that doesn't require validation from others, doesn't need to impose itself, and yet somehow makes everything else around it shift. Controllers find themselves exposed, isolated, and in some cases broken by their attempts to impose their will. The chosen one doesn't play by the rules of the world that those in control cling to. They rise above them, leaving everyone around them to reckon with their own limitations. For those who seek to control, this is a rude awakening. They leave interactions feeling smaller, less powerful, and stripped of the influence they once thought they had. The irony is that the chosen one never sets out to prove anything. They simply are, and in that being, they force the world to recalibrate. They don't need to fight back or challenge anyone because their very presence does all the work. In the end, the real power doesn't come from control. It comes from living with an authenticity so strong that it naturally shifts the energies around you. The chosen one doesn't need to prove their worth, they just exist. And in doing so, they remind us all of what true power really looks like. It's quiet, it's grounded, and it's unstoppable. If you felt the power of truth, authenticity, and strength in this message, then you know exactly what it means to be a chosen one. If this resonated with you and you're ready for more insights that challenge the norm and push you to think deeper, then you won't want to miss what's coming next. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join a community of individuals who refuse to be controlled and are ready to rise above it all. This is more than just a channel, it's a movement. So subscribe now, and let's continue this journey together. The best is yet to come. Stay blessed.